Hello, good evening, and welcome back. We've got a nationalist story today when it comes to the flying of the Union flag. Not to be confused with the Union Jack, which it is disputed to be flown just on naval vessels. So, the Union flag is vitally important, as is any flag for any other country. And I think it is almost an anathema, because a Union flag, or any other flag really, is just a depiction of colours and maybe symbols, seeing as the Welsh flag isn't incorporated into the Union flag, which shows a symbolism of what people are fighting for, what people are patriotic for. It is symbolic of all of those things, all of those words, which may not always be able to be put into words, especially in times gone past when people are illiterate, and instead it is to the flag that they pledge allegiance, as the Americans still do. And yet is that, seeing it waving on the hill, seeing as a flag bearer moving forward, it is that the people pledge allegiance to. Not for the flag itself, of course, but for what the flag represents. And for those not in the know, we've got some lexicology here for what the Union flag represents, with the three different colours, with white representing peace and honesty, red symbolising bravery, strength and valour, and blue representing vigilance, justice, loyalty and perseverance. These have changed over the years slightly, with historically white symbolising purity, truth and innocence, red symbolising military strength, martyrdom and warriorhood, and blue signifying loyalty, faith, honesty and power. So there is a little bit of linguistic changes over the years, with a little bit of a separation with, of course, church and state, and the idea that nationalism and purity and those kinds of terms is something worth fighting for. But nonetheless, for anybody who is a nationalist, or at the very least proud of their country, so it could just be patriotic, this is definitely good news, because for too long have we seen the point that as British citizens, as English, Welsh, Scottish citizens, whoever you may be, wherever you may be from, we've seen the loss of that coherent national ideology. And that is vitally important when it comes to community cohesion, because of course with community conflict, then we've seen increase in crime and murder and thefts, and all those kind of statistics have been going up because people do not trust each other anymore, and with the victimhood narrative being pushed, then of course you see those kinds of results. So with this change instead, you're trying to remind everybody that they are a British citizen, and I mean, I would love to be able to emphasise citizen, but let's be frank, you are a British subject, not citizen. As much as we might like Queen Elizabeth II, we've also got to bear in mind that it is the crown, not the monarch, so it would be Charles next, if all goes to plan, I suppose, in which case you are therefore then pledging allegiance to Charles, which leads me on to my classic segue, which is to say that I wouldn't be surprised if Mars becomes the new America. 1776 led to the independence of the US, and they were all for laissez-faire capitalism and being independent, and seeing as the world has gone as it is, with Biden taking over now instead of Trump, and Boris Johnson not being remotely right-wing despite claiming to be so, then it almost seems like the new world is the only opportunity, and the new world is of course an actual new world this time, which is Mars, until they call a new world a galaxy, and then we're outdated of course, as is the way language works. But I do strongly expect Mars to be the new America, because what kind of people are going to be willing to go there? Well, those that are individual risk takers, obviously, and therefore probably most likely know what they're doing, in which case they can create a worthwhile settlement incredibly readily. And it's not as if we can communicate with them on a regular basis, given that it takes 8 minutes for the speed of light to get between here and Mars, depending on the elliptical orbit at the time, of course. So that is my prediction, locked in most definitely. So it's nice that we're seeing the Union Jack flown more often and higher, and we're hoping that is going to put at least some instigation into preventing crime around the areas that have been taken over by so-called minorities or ethnic minorities, because let's be frank, they're not. When you go to that particular area, and that is just where statistic comes into play, that the ONS or the government try to say, oh no, the white people aren't in a minority because you've got to group them into this bigger community. And then you say, well, hang on a minute, we're not a community. They keep themselves to themselves. They are more than happy to live in slums. In which case, yeah, maybe we should branch out and not try and class this small little area as one British majority place, because it bloody well isn't. But hey, at least the law's changing in a positive way. So let me know down below what you guys think of this. If you think this is actually going to be upheld, or if you think it's just going to be one of those more placating sentencings in order to try and get the rest of us to shut the fuck up, ready for the next election, or if you think actually they're going to be taking this seriously, especially given what's been happening in Denmark, and there might be hope for this, with the exception of the COVID masks, of course. Either way, let me know down below. Always intrigued to see what you guys have to say. And as always, until next time, have a good one.